Hey everyone, it's Theresa here, and welcome to my Wednesdays Art Journal with Me series. Today is going to be all about change. And so I'm really excited because I picked up this Dina Wakley art journal a couple of days ago and could not wait to try something that is completely new and completely foreign to me. If you have followed me any length of time, if you're new here, then let me just tell you how much I typically love white backgrounds, and I use a lot of gesso in my art journal pages and in my traveler's notebook spreads. But today we're going to work on a black background, and I have to tell you guys, I love it so much. And I think it's really amazing. What I wanted to do was to push myself creatively and find some new ways to express creativity that was out of the box for me. And so that meant also changing up the mediums that I'm using as well. So no gesso today. But I did have an opportunity to order some of the magical shakers from Lindy's Stamp Gang. And so I have to tell you that I loved using these and absolutely loved the outcome of this page. So what I'm doing is using one of these TCW stencils, and I've masked off a portion of it. And so then I'm mixing the magical shakers with the Liquitex modeling paste. I use the gel-based modeling paste. I just find it's a little bit easier to work with. It doesn't dry quite as quickly as the regular modeling paste does. And it blends beautifully with these shaker, with this shaker medium as well. And you can absolutely make the color as intense or as light as you want, depending on how much of the product you add to your modeling paste. So you can make this your own. And what I found was really amazing was when I put this down onto the page, how it really popped against the black background. It almost looks like stained glass, especially with this stencil. It really does have kind of this ethereal feel, and just creating it was really satisfying. I decided to use four colors, and so I'll tell you what those colors are. Alpine Ice Rose is the pink. Time Travel Teal is the teal color. Polka Purple is the purple, of course. And then Cathedral Pines Green is the green color that I used. Just a couple of recommendations that you get to learn from my experience. I found that it was better to not go all the way into the seam. This is a lay flat art journal, which is wonderful for doing 2-page spreads, but the medium does get kind of clogged up in the middle where these 2 pages meet. So that's something to be cautious of if you decide to try this. The other thing as well is that I find it's easier to change the color in the middle of the stencil versus on the edge of the stencil. I did have a little tiny bit of a mess up. You'll see where it is right here in the center on this pink part. And it's not really that terribly noticeable or anything like that. So I'm certainly, not upset or anything. I just roll with it. I think that this is part of the art journaling journey, is making things that aren't always perfect. And so I did go back and smooth over that one little part real quick, and then just kept moving on. And I washed the stencil in between each application, except for the last one, and I found that it worked out just fine. But I think that my worry is always, is this going to stick to the stencil forever? And which of course will make your stencil a little bit thicker than you might like. But it did work out. It all worked out in the end. And you can see how I am masking off the parts of the stencil that I want. You could also mask off a shape onto your background if you wanted to do like a heart shape of this stencil pattern. That would be really beautiful as well. And what I really loved about this page was the opportunity to experiment transitioning between different colors and incorporating different colors onto the page. And you will notice that because of the way that I mixed these colors, none of them are exactly all alike. And I just used whatever it was that I mixed up of one color. I used that and then mixed the next color and used that, and went on that way around the page. And so I did turn it upside down to do the top. And by this point, I'm starting to figure out what it is that I want to do with the page, what I want. I can sort of envision the outcome now. And so I think I'm going to do this sort of wavy pattern at the top and the wavy pattern going across the bottom, and then write journaling in the center. And I think that will be a really nice way to do that. This was probably my favorite transition, the teal to purple. It has that sort of mermaid feel as well. And then here you can see where I put the stencil back down without washing it, and it worked out just fine. Just in case you're worried about things like that, I tend to worry more about things like that. And then you can see here where I'm leaving a little bit of space inside that seam, just so that it won't be quite as messy as the bottom part was. I have to say that it's so therapeutic just to sit down and mix these colors and watch this come to life. There's just something really medicinal about it that's calming. And really one thing that I have to I always like to stress, and I always like to remind myself and you, is to let go of a particular outcome and let what happens happen on the page. And so however it turns out, to be cool with the way that it turns out. And just looking at this, I think it's really cool. It looks really amazing. Those magical shakers really do have a lovely deep pigment, and they contrast beautifully against the black. And so I wanted to share with you what I'm going to journal. It says, the ebb and flow of life is just what keeps us alive, up and down and in and out. All of the world is polarizing to its individual all of the world is pulsating to its individual rhythms, all of us unique, and everyone is completely new. In the newness, we are challenged because we yearn for similarity, and we are repulsed by change. We seek the familiarity, but then we are intrigued by the difference. We simultaneously reject and embrace change, for it brings the newness of life and love. And then I dated it and initialed it TM. And what I just wanted to leave you with today is, even though I know that we are seeing so much change that's coming globally, locally, to our communities, to our families, to our homes, in our churches, in our schools, everywhere we look is change. And I just want to remind you that it's all going to be okay, and the change is new, and that is life. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.